to hear from God's voice. And that's some of the error that we find ourselves into, especially in the prophetic, where sometimes the heart of man can yield you to choose their will rather than God's will for their lives if you don't have the spirit of discernment. Amen? Amen. Amen. So number 2, honoring them rightly. We are called to honor our leaders in 1 Thessalonians 5. As it tells us to respect those who labor among us. Our leaders are laboring for us. They are constantly day in and day out. They don't work 9 to 5s. They are in the church 24/7 with the expectation that they are yielding to the Lord himself to figure out what does the Lord want for his children that he has entrusted into their hands to lead. And so honoring them from a flock's perspective means that when our leaders come in, we shouldn't automatically look to damn them for their efforts because it's not to our liking. So a leader may hear something that you have to say, but he may not implement it immediately. It is not our job as the flock to get upset and then to ridicule them because of our own emotions. Because that now strips the ability for us to be able to honor them in their positions. However, that does not mean that because they're in a position of leadership that they are not prone to error. And that goes down to even the founder, because he is human. So we're going to speak from a leadership position. We have to remember that our leaders too are human, and they have human error in them because they are not Christ. So Christ is what makes us righteous, not just the calling alone. So if you take a look at this, honor is not restricted to whether or not somebody is doing it right or wrong. Honor is due as a human being, period. So I may not fancy you as a human being, but I will respect you and I will honor you with the love of God. So even if a leader gets it wrong, it is our duty to honor them for the seat that they are seated on. But if they are leading us astray, there is a way that we can righteously disobey in a manner that is respectful. Not in a manner that tears them down, not in a manner that causes them to also sin against God, but in a manner that, pulls them up as we're trying to be pulled up as well. So there's a way that we can correct one another in love, even in a position of leadership, but also honoring the fact that they are on the seat of authority. When David went to the kingdom and he was playing the strings for King Saul, he honored the seat that Saul was seated on, even though he knew that he was anointed for that position in the future. Thank you. So we can emulate David and his ways of honoring Saul, even though the kingdom was stripped away from Saul. He never once condemned his leadership while he was under him. He just watched and he learned. And so sometimes, I know from my generation, the younger youth, late 20s, there is sometimes a yielding towards wanting to leave a fold because of errors that are found in our leaders. But I'm encouraging our young ones to kind of use it as an opportunity to learn what we can do better at our time. Because even though our elders are getting it wrong, there's something that we can learn that it may be right if we are to look at the opposite way and hope and wait and tarry for the time that we can be an agent of change in our church. Amen? Amen. Amen. And my third point is to avoid idolization. The foundation of idolatry is not just when you go to an Orisha or a Shango or something to go pour palm oil on it and hope for blessings. Idolatry starts from the place of where you place something in the place of God. So if we take away our leaders, we can say that our jobs sometimes take the place of God because we start to depend on it for our livelihood, not knowing that God is the one who gave us that job, and so we are looking to honor God first before we honor our jobs. So when we now get to our leaders, my sister said it, when it comes to leadership, sometimes we expect that, we see that many members, they will look to leaders for certain answers, and because of that, they will go into doing things blindly because they're not aware. And it's a stem of ignorance, where they themselves have not done the work to figure out the Christ that they are searching. So we have to avoid idolatry by first knowing that when you are coming to the house of God, you are coming to worship God and God alone.